Okay, so hi Maya. So you gotta sketch the graph of 3x plus 1. So it says y is equal to 3x plus 1. So we have to know that this is a linear graph. Okay, so linear graph. So linear meaning a straight line graph. Linear or straight line. Okay, so when we how to identify whether it's a linear or a curve, linear or a curve. So how are we gonna identify that? So when you look at y is equal to 3x plus 1, the power of x, the maximum power of x is 1. So when the power of x is the maximum power of x is 1, the graph is always a linear graph, and there should be no any other rational x values, which means you should not have any other powers of x, right? So there is only a term with x to the power of 1 and a number. So you should have these two stuffs. So generally speaking, we say that a linear equation is of the form y is equal to ax plus b. Okay, so now since the graph is a linear graph, you see, so the graph is linear, so it's more than enough for us to have 2 points, because when you have 2 points, we can sketch the line. So it's more than enough for us to have 2 points. So when we have 2 points, we can always sketch the graph. But how are we going to find those x values? So that is very easy. We are going to assign any values of x. Let's say any values. Let's say 0 and 1. And then we are going to see what happens for y when you substitute the x values that you have considered. So when x equal to 0, what happens to y? So y becomes 3 times x, but this time we have assumed that x to be 0, so it's going to be 3 times 0 plus 1. 3 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 1 will give us 1. So 0 comma 1 is a coordinate point. Now when x equal to 1, what happens? When x is equal to 1, our y becomes 3 times 1 plus 1, which is equal to 3 plus 1, which is equal to 4. So on that case, 1 comma 4 becomes a coordinate point. So if we get the x-axis and the y-axis, so this is going to be our x-axis, this is going to be our y-axis. So x equal to 0 is here, x equal to 1 is somewhere around here, x equal to 2 is somewhere around here, 3, 4, -1, -2, -3, so on and so forth. And if you look at the y coordinate and x coordinate share the same point for 0. And you have y equal to 1, y equal to 2, y equal to 3, y equal to 4, y equal to -1, y equal to -2, -3, so on and so forth. So now if you want to sketch the graph, we have found 2 points. So that is 0 comma 1 and 1 comma 4. So we have 2 points. So what is 0 comma 1? X equal to 0 is this and y equal to 1 is this. So along x we draw a perpendicular, and along 1 we draw a perpendicular, and the intersection point becomes the coordinate point. And how to identify 1 comma 4? So x is equal to 1. So along 1 we drop a perpendicular vertically, and along y equal to 5, I mean horizontally, we have to drop a it's going to be a perpendicular to the y-axis. So the point of intersection is going to be a point. Now what you can do is you can join these lines. So when you join these lines, you are going to get I'm sorry, let me draw it nicely. So when you join these lines, okay, let's try to join it this way. So when you join these lines, you will end up getting a beautiful straight line. So this is the idea. Thank you very much.